Hi everyone, this is Sophia Bothwell, author of True Slimness, available from Amazon and Lulu Online Publishing. And it's just a little promotional video for my book and to tell you a little bit more about me. I was a compulsive eater all my teenage years, and my work has evolved primarily from that, from the experience of actually knowing what it's like to compulsively eat and also know how to heal it, which is what I now teach and have been teaching since I was 27 years of age. Um, how I was able to overcome my compulsive eating is mainly through this book. It's Fat is a Feminist Issue by Susie Orbach. It was written in the 70s. The lady, she's someone who's lived in New York and lived in London, set up the Women's Therapy Centre in London, and was part of or set up a therapy centre in the 70s in New York as well. She's an English lady. I would highly recommend this book. It's a brilliant book, Fat is a Feminist Issue. So there's something I wanted to read from it, which is really untouched by, most of the mainstream methods of weight loss, which is dieting and that sort of thing. And it's this, and I quote from her book: "If one recognizes that compulsive eating habits express an interest in being large, many things fall into place, and the possibility of breaking the addiction to food is there." So, first and foremost, she talks about this being an addiction. This is what I learned. I hadn't realized that before in my 5 years of compulsive eating. I thought I just needed to diet and have enough willpower to follow a diet, and I'd get slim and my life would be perfect. Of course, that's, a mainstream myth, which I had wholeheartedly bought into. But once I read this book, it taught me first and foremost that my way of eating was an addiction. So that was an eye opener for me. And also, it stated there's an interest in being large. That means there's an interest in having that excess weight. Now, what on earth could that be? It's mainly subconscious, so we're not aware of it. So when you're at the larger size, you're not aware that maybe there's something positive or something beneficial in being the heavier weight. So it's often to do with protection. It's often to do with feeling solid. It's often to do with being big in the world. If you can't be big in the world in any other way, you can be big in the world with your size. So this talked a lot, obviously, because of the title, Fat is a Feminist Issue. It did talk about women being second-class citizens, and in the 70s, it was maybe slightly a different issue than it is today, but I think there's remnants definitely of this, of us evolving as women into who we are as people with voices and as having a say in the world, weight in the world, bigness in the world. So you see, even though the words are similar, they can mean different things. You can actually physically be big in the world, or you can be big in another way through your activities, through your career, through who you are, even in your family and in your community, simply being someone who is taken seriously and not someone just used as a doormat. Or shoved into a role which really you feel stifled in, maybe just that of a housewife or someone working in a job that you're not very happy with, but it's just sort of to keep the family happy, to pay the bills, etc., etc. All these other very valid sort of survival based reasons. So this book and my own book, True Slimness, as well, we address these issues. We address how to become who you are while slim. You don't have to be physically big to be big in the world. Yeah, you don't have to be physically big and heavy to be safe and secure or protected. Yeah. So in this book, Fat is a Feminist Issue, she does a visualization which I personally found extremely useful. So in it, I would imagine myself at a party, and you imagine yourself getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and you specifically notice what you're wearing, how you're acting and reacting with the other people at the party, whether you're a wallflower, whether you're the life and soul of the party as this large woman. You notice, are people approaching you first, or are you having to make the first move to have contact with other people at the party? Um, and then you imagine yourself getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer at the party until you're your ideal weight. You are as slim as you might ever like to be. You're at the same party. This is all a visualization. You just visualize it. And you notice again, what are you doing? Are you talking, dancing, eating with others? Are you a wallflower, or are you the life and soul of the party as this slim woman? Now, what often happens is, and what is fascinating about this visualization, which simply taps you into what's going on a subconscious level as regards size and shape, is that you see what's beneficial in being large and what's a little bit scary about being thin. And you also notice that you can be two completely different people. So, who you imagine yourself fat and who you imagine yourself slim is actually two different women, two different people. So there's a subconscious pressure there that, well, if I get slim, then I'm going to have a personality change, you know? So we unravel all of that. That's the tip of the iceberg. We unravel all of that, of how can you be who you truly want to be while being the slim woman. As it says in this book, how can I be who I want to be when I am looking like a stereotype? Now, that's a very profound question, because a slim, attractive woman is a stereotype. It's a stereotype that's used in the media for a variety of purposes, and it's held in people's minds, both men and women's minds, in different ways. So you can be seen as an object when you're the slim, attractive woman, and that, of course, is totally undesirable. You know, it's not at all desirable. So getting big can often be a rebellion against that. It's being who you want to be. So the question is, if you do get slim and permanently slim, it becomes your reality, well, how can you be who you want to be? So these are the questions that initially Susie Orbach posed in her book, Fat is a Feminist Issue, and I uncover and ask and answer in my one-to-one sessions and my group work via Zoom. We talk about all these deeper issues, which again, the mainstream dieting isn't going to do that for you. It doesn't look any deeper than, well, you just regulate what your food intake is. But that's impermanent. It won't work unless you do the deeper emotional work. So in my book, True Slimness, is also what I've gleaned from Fat is a Feminist Issue, from Naturally Slim by Dr. Cherie Martin, another brilliant read. I totally recommend it. If you love reading, definitely delve into it. And this one, On Eating, again by Susie Orbach, a great little book. And my years of being a recovered compulsive eater and my forays into positive thinking, rebirthing breath work, emotional resolving, the work of Byron Katie, there's many different practices and holistic therapies that I used as part of my own healing journey. And I do see this as a journey. I'm simply accompanying you on your own journey from being a compulsive eater to being someone with a natural eating pattern, the eating pattern of, I'm hungry, I eat, I'm full, I stop eating. And the emotional issues that arise in my life, I resolve them. I face them and I resolve them. So awareness is one of the key main things that I teach. We start with awareness, a heightened awareness of when we're hungry and when we're full. And we do this through the Am I Hungry handout sheet, which is here in it's in True Slimness, and it's also a handout sheet that's free from my website, sophiabothwell.co.uk. That's SOFIABOTHWELL, sophiabothwell.co.uk. So it's a free download. You can print it out, or I do believe you can also put it on your phone or computer. So this Am I Hungry download, it basically teaches you how to be more aware of when you're physically hungry and when you're physically full. And before people come to have a one-to-one session with me or join one of the groups or workshops via Zoom, I say to them, well, check this out. And put it into practice for a week or so, and you'll have some questions about it. You'll agree with some of it, you'll disagree with some of it maybe, but try and put it into practice, and that's our starting point. So you start off by noticing when you're hungry and when you're full. And you do that simply by asking yourself, am I hungry? Anytime you think about food or eating. So anytime you think about food or eating, just straight away ask yourself, am I physically hungry? If the answer is yes, eat what you fancy eating until physically full. And if the answer is no, when you ask yourself, am I physically hungry? If the answer is no, then you um, ask yourself, what feeling is this? Because at that point in time, when you are not even physically hungry, but you crave food when full, then you ask yourself, what feeling is this? And then once you have your feeling, anger, fear, boredom, stress, anxiety, annoyance, irritation, impatience, whatever it is, you ask yourself, right, given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? And it could be go for a walk, phone a friend. Um, any of the many, many things that your intuitive guidance can give you at that moment in time. But whatever your intuitive guidance does give you at that moment in time will be the right thing for you to help deal with that emotion and not suppress it. So that's the key. Okay, so that's the Am I Hungry handout sheet that's available from my book Through Slimness, which is on Amazon or Lulu Online Publishing. That's LULU Online Publishing. Um, or the handout sheet is free from my website, sophiabothwell.co.uk. So I shall leave it there, and I hope something in there was of interest to you. Read any of those books if you're struggling with your weight. They are fantastic self-help guides to dig you out of that or raise you out of that hole of compulsive eating, feeling guilty, feeling bad about yourself, and then more compulsive eating. It really digs you out of that. It lifts you out of that pattern. It breaks that pattern and enables you to be naturally slim for the rest of your life. So it really is permanent. It's a wonderful, life-changing journey. And again, it is a journey. So until next time, I wish you all the best with your weight loss endeavors, and speak soon.